What's going on, guys? We have Battle Nexus issue 3, and it's been a series I've been enjoying so far, and I don't really take it too seriously. Just kind of a fun little spin off where we're basically taking our Ninja Turtle figures and just smashing them together, and nothing's really gonna be too consequential from this series with our mainline series. So, just to kind of catch us up as to what's going on, we have Savanti. He's taken over the Battle Nexus planet. He's held the council members there hostage along with Renette, and he is bringing all of the turtles from all sorts of different dimensions to this world and making them fight. And last issue, we saw Shredder, like the black and white version of Shredder, fight Leonardo. Leonardo lost, and it looked like he was killed, but we never get that confirmation. He gets a katana thrown right through his chest, and so we're meant to believe that he died, but he gets booped out of there so quick we never get to confirm alive or dead, and so likely he's alive. So at the very end of that issue, we saw Raph getting paired up with against Alapex, and so that's where we're gonna start with here. So we're gonna go ahead and open up. We see all of the huge number of story writers here. The script on this one is from Sophie Campbell and Victor. I'm not even gonna try and do the last name here because I'm just gonna butcher it, but he is our artist for this one. So we are going to start off our story by taking 1 year in the past and the world of Shenkur. That's the best I can do there. And we see Ninjara, but that's not her name. We're going to now have a new name for Ninjara, and it is Umiko. That's the best I can do. However, I'm going to go forward and just call her Ninjara because that's a hell of a lot easier for me to say. And we've already, the last 2 issues, we've established that as her name. So I'm just going to, for the sake of clarity and as well as pronunciation on my behalf, I'm just going to continue with calling her Ninjara. Now, she's seeing like a seer or an oracle who's looking into the future. This person presents her with a black blade, and with that, she's going to be able to destroy a monstrous enemy, and this is like part of her destiny. And Ninjara's like, okay, well, when will I meet this prey of mine? And the oracle is like, now. And there is Savanti, and Ninjara's like, all right, let's go. Now, Savanti calls her Ninjara, and she's like, that's not my name, yada, yada, yada. I'm this person of the Ninjara clan. And Savanti's like, well, I don't like that. We're gonna roll with Ninjara. That's got a better ring name to it. And I gotta honestly admit, I like Ninjara more than Umiko, I think is how we go with. So I'm actually with Savanti on this one. And she's talking about how she is destined to do that and to like strike him down and stuff. And he says, well, actually, that blade is cursed and it makes you obedient to me, for I am the master of that sword. And she calls him a liar and a deceiver and goes on to try and strike him down. He puts like an immobilite, a spell down that makes her immobile, and says, you know what, I know all about you, your people, and you guys believe that your souls are in your tails, and whoever takes your tails, as he takes it, and possesses it, now has command over you. And so, apparently this works. She doesn't go against this. I don't know if this is an actual thing, or if they just believe that so much that she's willing to follow him, because she does call him master, as he says, hey, we have work to do and turtles to humiliate, and follows him into the portal. We then cut to present day, and we see Raph is, saying, I'm not going to fight Alapex. You got another thing coming. However, Alopex feels differently, and I don't know, it's a little confusing. She's somehow under the impression that Raph has any kind of input as to whether or not they're going to see each other, because she said, I told you to stay out of my life. And Raph's like, your issues with the dude with the horns. He's the reason why you and I are both here. I was cool just letting you be. And she continues to attack and is like, I thought we left on good terms. And she's like, well, I wouldn't say me leaving an entire area to avoid you is on good terms. And after everything that you did, and what we'll find out, for those who don't know, is she felt betrayed by Raph as well as his brothers for teaming up with Shredder to take on the Rat King. She really hates that, especially for everything that she had to go through with him. And she goes on to explain this. So it's like she had her whole home burned down. She got basically enslaved and brainwashed all to Shredder, and the Turtles went ahead and teamed up with him. Now, I haven't gotten to that part in the series, so that did spoil that part a little bit for me, but I wouldn't be reading this stuff if I wasn't okay with having stuff spoiled. So sorry if you didn't get there either. Like I've said before, when it comes to Alopex, these two are only just starting to get into a relationship. So I kind of assumed in the mainline series that that's no longer a thing. So Raph has had enough of Alopex just straight up attacking. He's like, you know what? I'm done saying sorry. And then he proceeds to also start fighting back. We see the remaining two brothers, Donnie and Mikey, watching on, but Mikey's had enough. Sees Slash over here and tries to, have a little friendly banter with Slash, and Slash is just stone. He doesn't budge at all. He doesn't even look, nothing. He is just a statue over here. Now Donnie, he continues watching, and the figure who's been cloaked, who I've made a prediction. I think that might just be the last Ronin version of Mikey. He comes over and asks who's winning between the two, and Donnie just says Savanti. The fight continues. Now Savanti's looking kind of bored. I think that this is just because Raph is actually fighting back. Look back a couple pages, and he is quite entertained at Raph just getting his ass handed to him and not fighting back. So now he looks a little bit more on the bored side, as the two are just going blow for blow here. When suddenly Raph just starts laughing, and everybody is taken aback by this. Savanti's like, what the hell is he doing? Just laughing. And Alopex is even just like, what's going on? And he's just like, it's so stupid. And he starts making fun of like some of the kicks that she's making, and she starts getting in on this too, making fun of some of his moves. And then they both just start laughing hysterically, and this pisses Savanti off so bad. And as they continue their laughter here, Savanti's like, well, you're both disqualified, and banishes them both to the prison dimension. Now the council members over here, they start going, they start kind of scolding Savanti a little bit, like, you're breaking your own rules. These are rules you set up, and now there's no winner. You're just going to banish them both. And Savanti just slaps one of them with a quick spell and is like, all right, I've had enough of you. Next challenger, for which he summons Donnie. Now Donnie, he's just like, okay, well, bring him out. I already know who you got. And Savanti, a little curious, he's like, okay, how? How do you know this? And Donnie goes on to explain he's like, it's only too obvious. You're picking our opponents based on like an emotional tie that we might have. You pick Shredder for Leo. You pick Alopex for Raph. You're likely going to give Mikey Slash. So I can only imagine who my next opponent is. So go ahead and bring out Metalhead. And that's where this story ends. So yeah, we got Metalhead coming up next, and that's a preview of the next cover. overall, I like I like plenty of the fighting scenes. The thing that is really dragging this one down for me is the very beginning with Ninjara. One, I don't understand why we had to do a name change. Ninjara was a fine name. Why the sudden name change in issue 3? Like, I feel like if that's not the name you wanted for her, that should have been established a while ago. And I don't understand. Savanti apparently liked the name Ninjara, so that's why they were going with it. But he's not randomly naming everybody else. Like, Leo's still Leo, and Donnie, etc. And he's not just arbitrarily naming everybody else. So why Ninjara? That was a perfectly fine name. Now that part's a little nitpicky. However, what is really kind of damning of this is the whole her being destined to strike down Savanti, right? It's like it's your destiny to wield this and cut down a prey. For then she's told that prey is coming, and that's when Savanti comes. So it's just like, okay, so we're gonna do the thing where the bad guy's not actually the bad guy, and she's actually a good guy, and it's just being controlled by the worst guy, and so she's gonna be made like an ally at some point in time, likely by freeing the tail from Savanti's control, and then she can turn and use the Black Blade against him. I'm just like, wow, that's kind of dull and boring if that's where we're going, because I'm assuming that the next issue is not the last issue. That we have a few more. So telling us this early, how things are going to go down is just like, okay, well, a lot of my investment is going away because of that. So this opening part really does a lot of damage here for the series as a whole. And again, I understand that I'm not taking this too seriously, but I want a good story to go with it, even if it is going to just be something that doesn't really affect everything else going forward as far as our main line is concerned. So, and plus, why not just have her as a villain? We've already seen that with Alopex. We've seen her go from villain to good, to a friendly. We saw that with Jenica, essentially, where she started off as one of the Foot Clan assassins, and then over time got to be a good guy. Like, why do we have to continuously make these villainous characters turn them to good? Why can't we just have more villain characters, especially of like the mutant kind? Basically, we're just kind of left with like Bebop and Rocksteady as just pure villains, and then as far as I'm aware, Old Hob is still kind of just playing his own thing. He's not really for or against. He'll use the turtles if that's what is required, but he'll betray them in a heartbeat if that suits him. So he's not. They've already kind of got like an anti-hero version of the mutant with Old Hob, assuming he is still alive. Where I'm at, still very much alive. So why not more just villain mutants? I thought she was a pretty formidable enemy, and I can just already see, oh, we're going to make her a friendly. And I find that kind of boring and dull. So overall, I don't know. As far as the rating, I would give I'm somewhere between a 6 and a 7 out of 10. It's got some enjoyable bits, but that beginning part really hinders my enjoyment of it. I did like the fight between the two. I liked that it just kind of how it ended between the two, the whole fight, where they just started laughing. It's like, what the hell are we doing? As opposed to, one of them talking about how much they just love it. Now, you do get that with Alopex talking about how that was part of why she's pissed, is she loved Raph and everybody else, and she felt like she was cast aside. But that's not ultimately what ended it, because that's actually when Raph started fighting. Was right after that. Instead, they just started laughing it off. Like, what the hell are we doing? This is kind of silly. I did like that bit. We didn't go so sappy with how that fight ended. But yeah, I would still recommend the Battle Nexus as a whole, but this one does take a dip, and so be ready for that. But hey, they can't all be huge winners here. But I would definitely put this on like a lower tier Not as low as let's say the Shredder series. I really I really kind of dread every single time I'm reading one of those. I wouldn't say that I dread this, but that first part I just like rolled my eyes. I'm like, of course, and just moved on. But otherwise, I enjoyed the rest of it. I also like Donnie being able to figure out exactly what's going on. And he's like, all right, come on, just bring out Metalhead. I know that's who you've lined up for me. I see the pattern here. You're not fooling me. So just bring him out. That's, cut with the suspense. I already know who it is. So I think that was well in character, that Donnie would be quick enough to figure all of that out. And so there is things to like about it. So that's why I'm kind of leaning more towards a 7. But that first part, like I said, does some real damage for me. But otherwise, yeah, I'm still satisfied. I'm still looking forward to issue 4 and seeing Donnie pair up with Metalhead and seeing how that all goes. So, like I said, overall, would still recommend the Battle Nexus series, especially if you just want to watch some figures smashing against one another. But that is all I have for today, guys. So until next time, take care and God bless.